About a year ago, my world shifted in the most jarring way imaginable. I found out my fiancée had been unfaithful. The moment I learned the truth felt like getting the wind knocked out of me. What made it worse was a chilling response. She looked me dead in the eye and said, "You'll never find anyone like me." Fast forward to today, and I'm in a deeply fulfilling relationship with a woman who, to my surprise, had carried a quiet admiration for me since our high school days. She's a model now, someone I never imagined I'd be with, not just for her beauty, but for the warmth and loyalty she brings into my life. Recently, while scrolling through Reddit, I came across a post by a man whose girlfriend had cheated on him. Her cold, detached reaction stirred something inside me. It took me back to the pain I endured during my time with my ex, who I'll call Chloe. Chloe and I had first connected on a dating app designed for people looking for serious commitment. I was 33. She was 30. Right from the start, the spark was undeniable. We shared a quirky sense of humor, similar hobbies, and could talk for hours without ever running out of things to say. After a few weeks of exchanging messages, I worked up the courage to ask her out. I was both excited and nervous. I didn't think someone as breathtakingly beautiful as Chloe would be interested in someone like me. But to my surprise, she said yes. Our first date went so well that we quickly fell into a rhythm and became an official couple. In the beginning, everything felt like a dream. But as time passed, I began to pick up on subtle changes in her behavior, things that felt off but were easy to dismiss at first. Chloe naturally drew attention from other men. At first, I didn't let it bother me. I trusted her completely. But then, during one of our late-night conversations, we jokingly talked about the concept of a hall pass, where you hypothetically get permission to be with a celebrity. She mentioned Justin Timberlake, then said something that stuck with me far longer than it should have. Honestly, I don't think many celebrities would turn me down. It was said as a joke, but it planted a seed of doubt. From there, her behavior slowly but noticeably shifted. She started coming home later, offering vague explanations that didn't quite add up. The woman who once confided in me about everything began brushing off my questions, snapping at me when I expressed concern. She blamed work stress for her late nights, but something in me knew that wasn't the full story. Still, I wanted to believe her. I tried to convince myself I was overthinking, but the unease kept building. Eventually, the distance between us became too great to ignore. I gently asked her if everything was okay. She quickly dismissed my worries, insisting it was just the pressure of her job. I nodded, pretending to believe her, while every instinct I had screamed that something wasn't right. That's when I realized I needed answers, even if I had to dig for them. I considered checking her phone, but I knew that would only spark more conflict. Instead, with a heavy heart, I made a decision I never thought I'd make. I hired a private investigator. It felt surreal, like something out of a movie, but I was desperate for the truth. I gave the investigator everything he needed: her schedule, the places she went most often, and even her usual excuses. 4 agonizing days. I waited. Each night, Chloe came home later than the last, offering weaker explanations that only strengthened my suspicions. Every second dragged by like an eternity. Then came the call. The investigator had an update, and deep down, I already knew what he was going to say. The confirmation hit me like a tidal wave. I had feared Chloe were being unfaithful, and now I had undeniable proof. The investigator had sent me photos, clear images of her entering the same apartment building multiple times with the same man. I'll call him Cody. Seeing those pictures shattered me. I had suspected something was wrong for a while, but witnessing the reality of her being with another man tore through me in a way I wasn't prepared for. The moment I got home, I confronted her head-on. I didn't hold back. I told her exactly what I knew and showed her the evidence. Her reaction stunned me more than the betrayal itself. She laughed. Actually laughed. Then, with a tone so casual it made my skin crawl, she brushed the affair off as nothing more than a meaningless fling. But it wasn't just the infidelity, it was the arrogance. She had the audacity to act as though I should feel lucky to still have her, even after what she'd done. I stood there, barely able to process the sheer indifference on her face. I was furious, heartbroken, and disgusted all at once. That moment was a turning point. I knew I couldn't stay with someone who could betray me and then mock my pain. I ended it on the spot. No more second chances. No more pretending. I walked out of that relationship with a broken heart but a newfound resolve to reclaim my worth and never settle for less than respect again. The next day, I returned to the home we once shared to gather my things. Chloe acted like I was overreacting, smugly saying, "I knew you'd come back." That single sentence fueled my determination even more. I didn't say much. I just kept packing. But inside, I was done for good. In the months that followed, I began to rebuild my life. I thought a lot about her pride, her carelessness, and how I had allowed myself to ignore the signs. But I also started thinking about what I truly deserved. Then came an unexpected invitation, my 15-year high school reunion. At first, I wasn't sure about going, but something in me said I needed to, and I'm glad I did. The night turned out to be more uplifting than I ever could have imagined. I reconnected with old friends, laughed more than I had in ages, and then came a surprising revelation. A mutual friend pulled me aside and told me that Veronica, a stunning model I'd gone to school with, had always had a soft spot for me. I was floored. How could someone like her, someone so graceful and confident, have ever been interested in me? Encouraged by that conversation, I reached out to her on Instagram. To my delight, she replied just a few days later, warm, excited, and just as beautiful as ever. We caught up over DMs, which quickly turned into FaceTime calls, and it felt like we were picking up from a place we never knew we left. It was effortless, genuine, real. Eventually, I took the leap and asked if we could explore something more than friendship. She said yes. Dating long distance came with its own set of challenges. Veronica traveled frequently for work, and I was still settled at home. But I didn't care. I was ready to do whatever it took. So I booked a flight to Brussels, where she was working at the time. The moment I landed, it felt like something out of a dream. I joined her at one of her shoots, watching her work with such passion and presence. I took behind-the-scenes photos, cheered her on, and for the first time in a long time, I felt proud, not just of her, but of the life I was beginning to build with someone who genuinely cared. That trip opened my eyes to how deeply I was falling for her. But amidst the happiness, I made a small mistake. I posted a couple of pictures from Brussels on my Instagram close friend story, forgetting that Chloe was still on the list. Hours later, my phone lit up. A message from Chloe, complete with a laughing emoji mocking me about my new girlfriend. I replied calmly, letting her know that yes, Veronica was my partner. But as expected, Chloe didn't take it well. I thought back to the cool words she'd once said, "You'll never find anyone like me." And now here I was, standing next to someone who was not only more beautiful but also kind, thoughtful, and full of grace. I ended the conversation with one last remark, a touch of sarcasm I couldn't resist. "You were right. I didn't find anyone like you. I found someone better." Then I blocked her permanently. Now, looking at where I am, I can hardly believe a difference. I'm with someone who sees me for who I am and treats me with genuine love and respect. Veronica makes me feel appreciated in ways Chloe never did. I'm even thinking about proposing, something I never thought I'd want to do again. If things hadn't fallen apart with Chloe, I would have never found my way back to Veronica. And for that, I'm truly thankful.